fears of people in communities like Chelsea were realized today. What you're seeing here in this video is an immigration raid. We're told it's one of the biggest in the area so far this year. The Trump administration says it's targeting known criminals. However, the people we spoke to today say they're not so sure about that. WBZ's Louisa Muller's live for us in Chelsea tonight. And Louisa, when we learned about these raids, you started asking some questions to find out exactly what happened there.
Yeah, David, and I need to be honest, it's very hard to paint a clear picture because ICE has not responded to our questions. But one local organization that works very deeply in this community believes that the targets of this raid were so-called day laborers who were just sitting here in the square around 6:30 this morning waiting to get picked up for local construction jobs. This was the view some people in Chelsea's Bellingham Square woke up to Tuesday. Agents in bulletproof vests arresting someone and putting them in the back of a vehicle. This video shows another perspective. These agents wore clothes marked police, their faces covered, guiding a handcuffed person into the back seat.
There was a major immigration raid impacting laborers with local construction companies.
Alex Train, the chief operating officer of La Colaborativa, a social services organization in Chelsea, says it was one of the largest raids Chelsea has seen in recent months. As a result, La Colaborativa shut its doors and stopped its services for the day.
To assure the safety of all of the community members that come here on a day-to-day basis.
Bellingham Square is the commercial epicenter of Chelsea. The raids happened around the corner from the restaurant where Bernardo Ortega has cooked and food prepped for 15 years.
Oh, I worry about the community in general. Yes. Yeah, because there are people from everywhere, every country around the world.
And Leo Albalazquez takes no issue with ICE arresting criminals.
Listen, there's a lot of people doing this bad stuff out there. Go get him. Go get him. No people that work hard, no people who is thinking about businesses, creating opportunities for other people.
But Train doesn't believe that's what happened here. He says he knows a young asylum seeker who was detained this morning.
And nobody knows his whereabouts right now. It is absolutely madness and completely inhumane.
Now, you may recall Chelsea and Somerville jointly sued the Trump administration last month, asking a federal judge to block any efforts by the administration to withhold federal funding from so-called sanctuary jurisdictions. Live in Chelsea, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
Louisa, thank you.
Over 6 days, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents arrested 370 people in Greater Boston. Investigators say they are violent offenders or gang members who are in the country illegally. And according to the so-called border czar, some of them were released by local law enforcement because Massachusetts law restricts who can be held under an ICE detainer. WBZ's Tammy Mutasa shows us this massive operation.
Tonight, ICE says the raids targeted some of the most dangerous offenders in this area. The arrests coming after a high-profile debate between the border czar and elected leaders. In his own words, Trump's border czar Tom Homan says he made good on his promise to come to Boston, find and arrest who he called illegal alien rapists walking the streets. Pictures show the result of a 6-day operation in Boston and Massachusetts, where he oversaw hundreds of ICE arrests as the agency teamed up with the FBI and ATF to target criminal organizations.
I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
370 people were arrested, including 4 fugitives charged or convicted of murder, 1 wanted for organized crime and money laundering. Gang members from notorious groups like MS-13 and Trinitarios were also busted, and child predators.
I'm not surprised. I expected that they would come in and do a sweep like this.
WBZ law enforcement analyst Ed Davis says there are thousands of active warrants in Massachusetts right now.
Those tens of thousands of names can be cross-referenced with people who have immigration detainers or other immigration actions against them, or some who are just not showing up as U.S. citizens, and then making a list from there. Then the hard work comes in identifying exactly where they're at.
Holman accused the Commonwealth and Boston of refusing to cooperate with ICE. The arrest coming after Boston Mayor Michelle Wu was called to testify before Congress about the city's police and immigration policies earlier this month.
Others may want to bring hell. We are here to bring peace to cities everywhere.
Today, Governor Maura Healey said in a statement, Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partners with federal agencies and federal law enforcement to keep people safe.
The bottom line is the courts should have the final say in who is processed and deported as a part of due process. And I think that's the question everybody has.
Last week, we told you about some of the arrests in Chelsea and that people in that neighborhood said not all of the people arrested were criminals. In Boston, Tammy Matassa, WBZ News.
Breaking news.
Off the top here at 5 o'clock, we have just learned that a Tufts University graduate student was taken into ICE custody because investigators allege she was engaged in activities in support of Hamas.
Now, they did not give any specifics about what the student is accused of doing. WBZ's Beth Germano is live in Somerville, where a rally will soon be underway with people who are, Beth, supporting that student.
Well, the arrest has certainly sent shockwaves through the Tufts University campus. And as students and friends prepare to gather in support of Rumeysa Ozturk, the Department of Homeland Security has now confirmed she's been sent to an ICE detention center in Louisiana, which flies in the face of a federal judge who ruled she should not leave Massachusetts without prior notification. And based on interviews with neighbors, it appears federal agents were watching and waiting. The screams of a frightened Tufts University graduate student as a half-dozen ICE agents intercept her on a Somerville sidewalk and cuff her late Tuesday afternoon.
Where the police?
Her attorney says Rumeysa Ozturk, a PhD student, is a Turkish national here on an international student visa. She was walking up the sidewalk near her home, about to get dinner with friends to break her Ramadan fast, when the masked agents took her into custody and put her in an unmarked vehicle. Neighbors claim they've been watching the area.
We had noticed a person sitting in a Ford Explorer, black Ford Explorer, just on the corner of our street for a full day with the engine on and taking notes, so we were a little bit surprised to see that.
That's one of the cars, and that's the other car that's kind of involved here.
It was Mike Mathis's security camera that caught the arrest, saying one of the vans had been on the street yesterday since the early morning.
Can I see some faces here? How do I know this is the police?
I live in Somerville. You know, we're supposed to be a sanctuary city. We're supposed to be a place of safety. She's a student here on a visa.
It's unclear why Ozturk was targeted. She had allegedly voiced support for the pro-Palestinian movement at Tufts, but was not known as a prominent leader. Her attorney said in a statement, "We are unaware of her whereabouts and have not been able to contact her. No charges have been filed against Rumeysa to date that we are aware of." Ozturk's neighbor says her friends were frantically looking for her.
We saw the neighbors coming in yesterday, and they're banging on the door, and they're asking if we had seen anything or heard anything.
The arrest is now having a chilling impact on this campus and beyond.
I feel for all the international students that have to be scared right now and you know, carry documentation with them while they're on their own campus.
Now, the president of Tufts says the university had no pre-knowledge of this arrest, and it does appear that her visa status has now been terminated. Friends and colleagues are desperate for information. We speak with one of them coming up at 6 o'clock. Reporting live from Tufts University in Somerville, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
All right, Beth, thanks. Well, tonight the Suffolk County DA is fired up, criticizing ICE for detaining an undocumented immigrant in the middle of his trial. WBZ's Tiffany Chan spoke with the DA and the attorneys for that detained man. She's live in Boston tonight with more. Tiffany.
Well, David, a Boston judge is holding that ICE agents in contempt, saying that he prevented this man from his right to a free trial. This entire ordeal captured on cell phone video.
This action by ICE was troubling and extraordinarily reckless.
Suffolk County District Attorney Kevin Hayden criticizing ICE for arresting a man last week outside of a Boston courthouse in the middle of his trial. The arrest captured on cell phone video sent to us by the defendant's lawyers.
An individual accused of a crime being snatched up and disappeared by a fully blackened out motor vehicle by undercover agents who were wearing no visible signs of their badge of office.
DA Hayden denies his office helped ICE arrest Wilson Martel LeBron, who's facing 2 felony charges for allegedly filling out a false application for a driver's license.
Any claim that we collaborated with ICE in their actions to remove the defendant from the trial are wholly unsupported by any credible evidence.
Martel LeBron's lawyers disagree, telling us they witnessed the arrest Thursday by plainclothed ICE agents.
Be honest, DA Hayden. Tell the public that your team knew that they were under orders to say and do nothing to prevent it from happening.
ICE believes Martel LeBron is a man from the Dominican Republic who entered the U.S. illegally. The DA says his office wanted to see the trial through, adding that ICE is making it tough for them to prosecute crimes and to keep the public safe.
We cannot and will not tolerate ICE hindering our ability to pursue those vital public safety goals.
Now, the Department of Justice says they plan to move that ICE agent when he was found in contempt, when he was charged with contempt, moving that up to the federal level to dismiss that in support of that ICE agent. From Boston, I'm Tiffany Chan.
An immigration agent smashing a car window in New Bedford before forcibly detaining the Guatemalan man who was inside. But his lawyers say he isn't even the man that agents were looking for. Thank you for joining us. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Lisa Hughes. Tonight, the man's wife tells WBZ's Tammy Mutasa it was a terrifying confrontation with federal officers.
Tonight, the detained man's wife is really worried, saying her husband should be home with his family, not locked up. She was with him when their attorney says he was wrongfully taken by ICE. As terrifying as this moment was for Marilu to see ICE agents smash her husband's car window and forcibly grab him in front of her, what's more upsetting is where Juan Francisco Mendez is now, locked up in a Dover, New Hampshire facility.
I can't reach it, it's up by her.
His attorney says federal agents took the wrong person in a case of mistaken identity. Marilu recounting the confrontation with her neighbor translating.
Cómo reaccionar en ese momento, no hallé cómo. Sí.
In that moment, she was very shocked. She didn't know what to do, what to think. She was just there, just terrified.
Marilu says when the agents came up to the car, they asked for a man named Antonio who used to live in their building. But the family kept telling agents that wasn't him. But by the time their attorney arrived on scene, Mendez was already detained and no word from ICE on what charges he faces.
They said they were looking for a certain individual by a different name. And I said, that's not my client. He said, he has prior entries to this country. I said, that's not true. I know my client's history. That is not him.
The 29-year-old has no criminal record. Rather, he's waiting for his final documentation to solidify his asylum status. Marilu and their 9-year-old son are protected under asylum status after persecution in their home country of Guatemala.
They came to this country to live what they believed was the American dream, to work hard. And all of their dreams and hard work is now they see for nothing.
Now the Mendez family is left in limbo, wondering if their husband and father is ever coming home.
Mucho por su papá.
She's trying her best to be strong for her son because her son keeps on asking where his dad is.
We have reached out to ICE to get more information about this arrest, but we're still waiting to get more details. In New Bedford, Tammy Mutasa, WBZ News.
All right, Tammy, thank you. Operation involving ICE has generated anger in Worcester. Police say 2 people were arrested when a crowd of people tried to interfere with an ICE operation yesterday.
WBZ's Beth Germano is live in Worcester tonight. Beth, I know you spoke with a witness who actually saw this confrontation.
Well, they described masked federal agents not showing any identification and what they say was an escalation of tension when Worcester police arrived. This scene all played out before a sizable crowd that rushed to the area with word that ICE agents were in the neighborhood. The screams of a woman being taken into ICE custody on Eureka Street in Worcester yesterday as crowds began to swarm around federal agents, a witness describing what she saw.
The mom, as she was being detained too, she was screaming. I don't know if she was being hurt as she was handcuffed. I don't know what, but she was truly screaming. Those are the screams that I have ingrained in my ears right now.
Another relative, believed to be her daughter, flailing in front of the ICE vehicle in a scene that rapidly grew into chaos in front of agents, some masked, and witnesses say they had no answers about the arrest.
We were all asking for a warrant. They didn't answer at first and then eventually just said this is a warrantless arrest when they were shoving them into the vehicle.
Worcester police say they moved in to de-escalate the situation, but the response has outraged the community, some saying they question which side the police was on.
We saw both federal and Worcester officers descend on a family with a level of aggression that you would use when apprehending someone who's known to be dangerous and carrying weapons.
2 others were arrested. School committee candidate Ashley Spring, charged with disorderly conduct and assault and battery, as she allegedly threw an unknown liquid at responding officers, and the arrested woman's daughter. At some point, activist Dolly DeRocha took the infant of another family member into her arms to help.
What I felt is indescribable because such an innocent baby that is going to be impacted by the separation of family members.
The message for ICE is get out of our city.
City leaders are calling for accountability and an investigation into the response.
Our local police is not tasked to protect ICE. They're here to protect the people, and they should behave that way.
Now, it is not clear who the arrested woman is or where she was taken, but it is certainly another flashpoint in an aggressive federal crackdown. Reporting live from Worcester, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
Beth, thank you.
The site still being processed.
He looks about my son's age.
A boy left by himself on a Waltham sidewalk after ICE agents take away the adult with him.
It makes me feel sick to my stomach as a mom, as a human being.
Waltham City Councilor Colleen Bradley MacArthur was on Felton Street recording these videos as it happened.
If we weren't there, I mean, he would have just been left on the sidewalk.
Instead, she says neighborhood watch volunteers walked him home. They patrolled the streets in these pink vests, and they were there that day as ICE agents watched them.
They rolled their windows down and had their cell phones and were recording us and taking pictures of us.
You said at one point a car drove at you?
Yes, I was standing on the sidewalk over in the corner. I could tell what he was doing. He was trying to intimidate me with his car.
When that agent got out of his vehicle, she asked,
"Which agency are you with? You need to tell me. It's the law. You're supposed to tell me who you're with."
He didn't answer and then turned around and shouted,
"You need to stand back and not interfere."
I'm not interfering. I'm observing, and legally I am allowed to.
She says by law, federal agents must identify who they are with, and by state law, local law enforcement cannot assist. She reached out to Waltham police after seeing officers at another ICE incident days later.
They've assured me that they're not taking part.
We reached out to Waltham police but have not heard back. A similar incident in Worcester last week sparked outrage in the community when Worcester police were on scene when 2 people were arrested for interfering with an ICE arrest. In the future, Bradley MacArthur would like to bring volunteers and local law enforcement together for a discussion on how best to handle safety at these situations.
I think we're somewhat figuring that out as we go along, but a dialogue, I think, would go a long way.
In Waltham, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.
Live pictures from Worcester tonight as demonstrators prepare to protest last week's ICE raid in the city. City Hall closed early today because of this protest. The mayor says he and other lawmakers have been threatened lately over the ICE raid. And David, that anger is spreading to Waltham, where we saw another ICE operation today. In this case, an agent actually smashed a car window to reach a man in the passenger seat. That man was then zip-tied and detained. Good evening. I'm Courtney Cole.
And I'm David Wade. Witnesses describe the incident as extremely upsetting. But as WBZ's Mike Sullivan shows us, there are people in support of the ICE agents' actions.
Another day, another ICE arrest video. Jose Gonzalez watched this arrest from a block away on Moody Street in Waltham.
No reaction, just broke the window, another thing that, how they don't care.
It seemed like he was just going to work.
Yeah. Definitely looks like the guy was going to work. He was ready for his, I assume he was getting his morning coffee.
In a video, ICE agents are seen asking for the man's identification.
And I'll leave you alone. Where is it?
Has the window shut, not reacting to anything because he knows his rights as well.
By law, a federal agent must also identify themselves if they ignore bystanders who ask. Jose got this video from a friend and posted it online.
Last I saw, it was like 22,000 people saw it.
When the man doesn't leave. They break the glass and pull him out, observers asking.
And I hope you guys go every night to sleep and see your kids and know that you're doing the right thing.
Well, I have been on ride-alongs with them. They don't want to go pound the doors down.
Senator Peter Durant oversees the Worcester and Hampshire districts. Recently, a woman in Worcester was taken into custody by ICE agents. The incident leading to a confrontation between citizens and police. 2 people were arrested for intervening.
This person was arrested back in February for assault and battery on their pregnant teenage daughter.
Senator Durant asks, what if this person were a legal citizen?
We would be outraged. We would say this person needs to be held accountable. They need to be taken off the streets. They're going to be put in prison.
He fears someone will get hurt as people attempt to intervene.
To believe that they're going down the street just kind of randomly grabbing people makes no sense whatsoever.
In Waltham, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.